In the fitness or hypertrophy muscle building space, you're likely familiar with creatine. It's one of the most research and effective supplements out there for the purpose of muscle building, also one of the ones with the highest safety profile. So it's normally always highly recommended by most professionals. There are some people that mistakenly think that it's equivalent to an anabolic, even though it acts in a very different pathway. It's come out in recent years, though, that it actually may have some cognitive benefits as well, beyond just muscle building. And it actually turns out that the biochemistry behind what makes it effective for muscle building, very similar pathway for why it's beneficial for cognitive reasons as well. So this is going to be a huge oversimplification here, very basic high school biology stuff, but you probably remember, if you remember basic cellular biology, the mitochondria is considered the powerhouse of the cell. Essentially, it takes in glucose and oxygen and through a process called oxidative phosphorylation. And that's a more complex biochemistry thing that I'm definitely not going to get into now. That produces something called adenosine triphosphate, which is the main energy currency of cells. And it's going to be all types of cells, muscle cells, neurons, and that's where creatine comes in. So creatine, which you can see the chemical formula right there, if I did this correctly, essentially helps in the production of phosphocreatine. And phosphocreatine, what that does is it rapidly synthesizes adenosine diphosphate, ADP, to adenosine triphosphate, ATP. So one thing that people much more knowledgeable than me talk about is understanding the difference between outcomes versus mechanistic data. With outcomes data, you essentially do a study and, well, it's self-explanatory, look at the outcomes afterwards. With mechanistic data, you actually try to understand the biochemistry or the bioenergetics behind why something is happening. And if you can understand mechanistic data, you can essentially predict what outcomes data is. So when you understand the bioenergetics of creatine and why it is so involved in, high energy production for cells, you see why it is so useful for muscle, for neurons, especially for people with deficits, cognitive deficits, or who have some type of psychiatric issue. It's actually been shown to increase the effectiveness of certain medications like SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So if you're considering creatine, it has more than just muscle benefits. It's also cognitive as well. And like I mentioned before, it does have a high safety profile. So definitely give it some thought.